Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Untouchable, uncrushable. Down, face down. You know the routine.
Welcome to another episode of Pan and Zoom. I'm your host, Sati Gossett, where we talk to creatives about being creative and how they started their journey. Tonight is our Nepo Baby episode. You can guess who I am. To my left is Shannon Sturges, and she is a fellow Nepo Baby, so this is great for me. I love this. Hello, Shannon.
Hello. I think that's the first time I've actually been called a Nepo Baby. That's
Really?
kind of exciting.
I'm honored that I got to do that. Now, tell us what you do, and more importantly, tell us about your lineage.
All right. Well, I was an actor for 25 plus years, and now I'm an acting teacher. I own Spicer Sturges Acting Studio, and I get to teach new and experienced actors and work on set. And my lineage, my grandfather was the writer-director Preston Sturges, Academy Award winner, and my father was an actor, and my mother was an actress. They are both now deceased, so, but yeah.
That is awesome. Now, it would be kind of a redundant question to say, how did you catch the bug? But how did you catch the bug?
Well, I was raised by my grandmother, who was Preston's third wife, and the mother to my father. And she never wanted me to be an actor. She didn't want me to be in the business. She was really worried. So, but you can't stop it when it's there. So I made her happy. I majored in English in college. I said I can learn from the mistakes that others have made before me. So yeah.
That's awesome.
I started doing plays and then came out to Hollywood.
Was there a specific work that said, hey, I totally want to do this, because a lot of people, they like to go to the movies or read books, and there's like a lightning bolt, like whether Wizard of Oz, or remember a specific thing that said, hey, this is what I want to do?
What's interesting is I remember seeing, my mother died when I was an infant, and I got to see images of her, and that was just really remarkable. From movies and things that she'd done. Of course, they were never sort of the images you want to see of your mother. She played a lot of ne'er-do-wells and such, and then also my father. He was in a movie with Elvis, and I get to see him be killed and be the bad guy and do all of this stuff. So that was sort of an interesting way into it. And then to have people who are in the industry and knew who my grandfather was to be able to be so impressed by that. Of course, I have nothing to do with that. You understand that. But, it is nice when people have an honor and a love for their work.
Like me as a kid hanging out on movie sets, that was the most boring thing ever, because it's just a bunch of adults and they're telling you to be quiet all the time. And or skulking about on studios and TV sets. Did you have the same type of experience? No,
again, because I grew up out of the business, even though I had all this history, raised by my grandmother up in Ventura, California. And so I didn't know I remember once when I was really little, somebody, I think it might have been my dad, took me to a commercial workshop, commercial audition. I can't remember what it was, but I couldn't read yet. And I was terrified and horrified. And I said, well, I'm never going to do that. And but then in 6th grade, I got the lead in the school play. I got Clara and the Nutcracker, and off we went.
And then off to the races.
Oh, Fritz, this is the best Christmas ever.
You still remember the lines?
Yep.
That's amazing. And did you study acting in college? No, you studied English, correct?
Correct. I did take some acting classes. I was at UCLA, so it was a good place to take some classes, but I was an English major. And then I studied privately, and then I started working on set, so.
Do you have a project that you consider your big break?
I've had a lot of big breaks. I was on Days of Our Lives.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was very young, and it was my first regular job. It was my first regular paycheck. I got to stop doing side gigs, and that was really fun.
Now, when you were on those jobs, what from the private stuff? Because here on Pan and Zoom, we like to talk about the craft. You know, what goes into making you be the best actor at the time, or director, or editor. Like, what type of techniques did you learn that helped you on the job?
Stanislavski based, you know, being truthful, being present. I did a television show called Savannah. It was Aaron Spelling WB show, super fun. And I, on my own dime, went out to Savannah to listen to the accent and to tour around and to see the places that my character would have grown up in. And so it just helps me to feel really grounded and legit as an actor.
It's interesting that you mentioned Savannah, because in my cursory research, I found out that you were named one of the 50 most beautiful people
In the world.
In the world, not in the county.
No.
Or in the community, in the world. And I thought that's so amazing. How did that help your career?
It did.
Or what was the
Certainly it
process of
couldn't
being
hurt.
named?
I understood it would be good for my career.
Okay.
Right. And so, you know, when I was a very young actor, I would always, you know, be so shy. But then and never thought of myself as attractive, never. But I could look at an image of myself and understand, oh, that girl's attractive. So I said, it doesn't matter if I think I'm attractive or not, other people do, and it will help me to get work and it'll help me to get the roles that I want to get. And so I was on Savannah and I got calls from a lot of big movies. But I couldn't get out of my contract. I didn't want to get out of my contract. I was really grateful. But it was a really fun little boost. And now if I feel like I look like a troll, I just tell my husband, remember, one of the 50 most beautiful in the world. They've now upped it to 100, you know, so it's, you know. It was also, fun fact.
Now it's on a curve.
Yeah. It was the year of my high school, my 10-year high school reunion, so that was fun.
No pressure.
Right, yeah. You know, I can't ever go back to another one, but.
That's funny. A couple of weeks ago, we had Lydia Cornell on here. You know, she was on Too Close to Comfort, and you know, we were talking about her journey and how it was tough to kind of get out of the stereotype of being just a beautiful blonde. And you know, the way she had described it is that's just like another tool in her toolbox. Because I'm sure, as you know, teaching acting, every person has their distinct set of tools, whether it's beauty or brains or brawn or ethnicity. How, as an acting coach, do you help? I know it's a long-winded question. How do you teach students to kind of embrace their originality?
Well, saying to, you know, especially attractive women, that they don't have, it's not arrogant to understand what it is you're selling, to understand what it is that you're going to bring into the room, that you're not going to be maybe the best friend. And also, I find that like really pretty, beautiful women will tend to be too nice. They want to apologize. They don't want anybody to say that they're, you know, fill in the blank, any of the words that we use to disparage women. So they sort of bend over backwards to be too nice. And so I'll have to make them stop doing that. Usually the best people at playing stupid are really bright people. And
her partner back in the 2000s, and it was such a fun journey taking classes because we did all kinds of material, and I had to do a lot of romantic scenes with some of these beautiful women, and it really forces you to kind of come out of your shell and step into the character. When you have students come to you for the first time, what's the the best, because they're like clay, you know. How do you help them formulate their being as an actor? Because
Well, in the beginning, to get them to play characters close to themselves,
yeah,
right? Get comfortable doing what you already do beautifully. What I tell people is that we're all perfect actors, right? We're so wonderful and perfect and believable as ourselves. Now we've got to take a different set of circumstances and a script and lay that on top. But we can't forget that we already know how to talk and listen. We know how to be embarrassed, how to fall in love, how to walk into a room, how to use our hands. So I think I give permission more than anything. Permission to be yourself, to let it be easy. Let the difficulty, if you're somebody who has this work ethic where you want to work really hard, which I love those people, but I say it's not algebra. I don't want to see your work, right? So do your work in your preparation, and then when you show up on set or you show up in class, let it go and trust that it's there. And if it's not, take two.
that's true. There's always another take.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because I know a lot of people come to California, you know, $300 in my pocket, driving in my broken down thing, or selling all their stuff, sleeping on the couch, and they come to you because they want to make their dreams come true. They want to become famous. And I'm sure you hear people come saying that stuff.
The worst is, Shannon, I'm all in. I quit my job.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No, you know, you need to be able to have a support system to be able to pursue this.
No, it's very true. And, you know, I know you guys teach the business of acting, because that's a thing that a lot of people coming out, they neglect.
Yeah.
They just think they're just going to show up and they're going to make it and everything's going to be great. How important is the business of acting, and what type of things do you teach the students?
Oh, it's vital. I don't want, well, I was going to say I don't want professional students. If so I've got somebody coming to me and all they want to do is be a student, they're a doctor, they're a lawyer, I've got them. And this is their art form that they want to play with. Absolutely, I love it. But otherwise, I want people out. I want them in my class, and then I want them out on set, and then I want them back into class in between their jobs. So you need to be able to understand how the business works, to understand what it is that you're selling. I hate the word brand, but I think it's kind of important, sadly, to understand what it is that you're selling. You can break outside of that, but initially you've got to see what is your typecasting. Where can your agents, where can the people who are representing you sell you and pitch you, and then you can broaden it once you've got your foot in and you're established.
Because I remember when I was acting, they had Z cards.
Yeah.
and the you know, you went to make the physical headshots and you had to distribute them. Now it's all digital and social media.
Your picture's still up on our wall.
It is.
Because nobody's printing headshots anymore. We wouldn't take you down, but still, it's, you know,
I'm
I've got
shocked that I'm still up there.
Because nobody's printing headshots anymore.
It's a thing.
We should have iPads on the walls.
We should. They're just rotating and.
It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not. See, I'll take 20%. What do you see people not doing when they come in?
Actually, I didn't really fully answer your question.
Cool.
I want to go back to that for a second. So people still need a good headshot. Just got to be a digital one, but they need a good headshot. A lot of actors say that they need a reel.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe that. I think that they need themselves on something that they can send to people. They can show how they look on camera and how they can act. But it can be a monologue that they do. It could be a self-tape. I don't think somebody has to go out and spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a reel, unless they want to for the experience or whatever. Maybe they want to direct and they want to play with that. But everybody, they seem to move out here and be like, okay, I got to get a reel, and I'm like, let's learn to act first.
No, it's true, because like if you have a reel, that entails that you've been in things that constitutes a reel.
Right. But see, that's not the case anymore. Back in our day, right, you would take your stuff from your movies and television,
When
wait and
dinosaurs
record
roamed
them.
the earth.
Right. In VCRs, and you program it. When is it airing?
Yeah.
I got my SAG card on a show called Doogie Howser.
Remember that show?
Yes, and I got a letter from Stephen Bochco telling me when it was going to air. I was like,
That's amazing. Do you still have that letter?
oh, of course I do.
That's amazing.
Yes. So anyway, times they are different. You know, I mean, there was no email when I started acting. You had to drive across town and go pick up your sides outside your agents at night so you could avoid the traffic. And then pray it wasn't 10 pages that you should have driven over a little sooner.
Yeah, and you use your Thomas guide to get
yes.
to.
I love
figure it
asking
out.
my students, you know what a Thomas guide is? You know, I'm a dinosaur.
Yes, and I'm right there with you. I think they should bring it back, to be honest.
It was pretty great.
Yeah.
Map skills.
Yes. So
what shouldn't they do?
what shouldn't they do? And then I was gonna ask you some other, but what shouldn't they do? Because I know when I was in acting class, once again, I would see a lot of what shouldn't you do. I did a lot of what should you do. You know.
Well, first of all, depending on what it is, you're going to learn so much more from your failures than you do from your successes. So you do something wrong, you're like, oh, I got it. Most of the time when actors succeed in a scene, they don't know how that happened.
It's true.
I know how it happened, but they don't. So sometimes I'll ask them about that because they don't trust it. But when they fail, they know it.
Yeah.
They know that. So some of the things that they shouldn't do is the more you can get out of your head, the more you're not over yourself judging your performance as it's happening. Sometimes easier said than done. I ask my actors never to start with memorization. If you start with memorization, then that performance is going to be one way, and it's going to be almost impossible to change it. So doing everything else, and if you know who you are, what it is that you need and you want, the lines will follow. You know, and I think some things that people think that they shouldn't do, it's just you know, there used to be like, don't do nudity. You know, if you're comfortable with it, it makes sense to you as an artist, do it. If it doesn't make sense to you, if it's something that you're not comfortable with, don't do it, right? I think actors are so worried about pleasing everyone. That's, you know, if you please yourself or please the character, right? Because you walk into an audition oftentimes just trying not to lose the role that you don't have, rather than trying to get it. You don't want to offend anybody. You don't want to upset them. You want them to, you know, so I think a lot of times it's very mediocre performances. It's neither here nor there because you're trying not to lose a role that you don't have.
Yeah, I saw a video snippet, and we're in the age video snippet, where Bryan Cranston is talking about how he approached auditions. Have you seen that?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
And-
I show it to my actors all the time.
And he basically, for those who haven't seen it, he basically says, you know, your job isn't to get the role, your job is to do the audition. You're totally out of control of whether you get the role or not. And once you have that context shift, then the pressure's off.
Yeah.
You've done your job,
Yeah.
and the rest is play.
Honor the character.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then if there's a part that's right for you, I tell my actors never to do, well, I don't, ignore stage direction is what I say.
Yeah, just cross it out.
Yep. And I say it's because it's as right as often as it's wrong. Right? It's there for whoever's reading the script to understand. If there's two attractive young people in a scene and they don't have to write flirting, right?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen naturally. And so, but it's so that the person reading it understands what's happening. But if it's too, you don't have to flirt.
And I'll take it to another level as a writer. If the writing is good enough, you'll know they're flirting by the subtext in the words too.
Yes.
You know, but that's another show.
Right.
So, you teach business of acting. What else do you teach in your classes? Because whoever sees this, they're gonna like, oh, this is Shannon's great. Let's go to her class.
Oh yes, I would love that.
You know, but what are they in store for as they go on their journey with you?
We like anybody who's new to the studio to start in our technique class. It's great for beginners. It's great for people who have some experience but haven't maybe been Stanislavski trained. It's just fun. It's theater games, and it's all of the separate techniques. I call it scene study without the scene, right? How do I create a moment of a sense memory, or all of the separate techniques. How am I creating a character? And then most people go into scene study, and we have 3 levels of scene study, 4 actually, sort of. We do improv. And then we offer specialty classes. Sometimes we've done stage combat. We do voice work. We do singing work. We do movement. We try to offer it all, commercial workshops, audition technique, all of those, all stemming from the core curriculum of our technique and our scene study classes.
That's amazing. So they can study all these different facets and then kind of bring it to...
Yes. And I'm not dogmatic, right? You are, as long as you get to truth, that's all I care about. Sometimes I'll ask somebody, wow, that was amazing. How did you do that? And they'll say something crazy to me. Well, I counted to 5, and then I did this, and then I was doing math in my head, and I'm like, okay, I wish I hadn't asked, but whatever. It was great. That the tools that I teach, I know will work for people. But if they have another way of getting there, great. As long as you get to truth, the actor is the one that's up there. It's sort of naked to the camera in a way, emotionally, not me. So I can tell you what I think is going to work and what I know will work, but you're the artist, so I want you to be in the driver's seat and owning your performance.
So being in class versus being on set with a professional working actor, how different is that, or how the same is that?
You mean, when I go on set and work with actors?
Because they're already kind of there already.
Right, yeah. Well, it's always interesting if I'm brought on by a director rather than the actor themselves, because then I've got to have a little chance to build up my trust with them, right? It's such an intimate relationship. So if all of a sudden somebody who's been nominated for an Academy Award or won an Academy Award, and it's like, well, here's an acting coach brought on, what do I have to learn?
Right.
Usually, by the way, people aren't like that at all. They just want to utilize me however works best for them. Maybe they just want to run lines. Maybe they are interested in digging a little deeper and talking about something. So many modern sets, especially high budget productions, have so many people in so many different departments. But there's nobody in the actor department other than the other cast members. Other cast members shouldn't be directing or helping one another. The director typically has got, they're at the top of the food chain there. They're making decisions about wardrobe and camera angles and production design and music and editing and so many things that I'm one of the only people who's there just for the actor. What is it that you need? Right? What is it? You want to run lines? You want to talk about the character? You want to discuss, you want another option? Sometimes they just want me watching the monitor and coming back and saying that was really nice. I really like that. I like this one different than the other one. I like that thing that you added to that take. Actors need love. They really do.
They do, and we've seen it go a lot of different directions.
Yeah, and they want sincere. They just don't want somebody to say they're great.
Yeah.
On the soap opera, the compliment was always like, "Oh, that scene was so good. You look so beautiful." And I know it was a compliment, but it's not what you want to hear.
Yeah, that's funny. It's interesting because the line between the craft and then what the craft turns you into, whether you end up being like a celebrity or an icon or a working actor or an extra. Sometimes like with my dad, the craft was so ingrained in him that he just kind of turned it on. And you see that with a lot of the greats. What can people learn from that?
Confidence. That the people who have confidence, who are secure in that and aren't trying to impress, aren't trying to show off anymore. If we see any of the greats at the beginning of their career, I'm sure they were good, but they weren't greats yet.
They're very raw.
Right?
You can see the rawness, like Pacino.
Learn. Yeah.
Very raw.
So I think it's giving yourself permission to fail always, right? Playing it safe. If you've decided to be an actor, after you decide to do that is not the time to be safe. You've chosen a very unsafe profession.
Yes.
So you might as well lean into that unpredictability. I think one of the things that we love watching in great actors is danger. And it's not necessarily physical danger, right? But it's just that I don't know what they're going to do next. I think they're going to go off script. And what's so wonderful is to watch these people and then look at the script and go, that was word perfect. But they made it seem like it was theirs and happening in the moment. When you can get to that, that's just magic.
It is magic, and that's why we go to the theaters and pay money and ask for autographs and climb their fences and go through their drawers. No, we don't do that.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not since, my third strike. But that's another thing. But no, this has been fun because, I always remember that time in acting class, and I've done improv classes, and it's always magic to kind of not be you, as it were. To be able to get the girl or be angry or be the villain. It's
the best high.
It is.
When you can be present in the moment and you come out the other end and you're like, what just happened? It was like an out-of-body experience.
It literally is. And everyone's saying you did a great job.
But it comes in the preparation and then in the letting go. It's that two-pronged approach.
We're running out of time. But
dang it.
She told you it goes by fast.
I know.
But, I'd like to thank you for coming on the show, and I will be coming to sit in.
Oh, I would love that.
Just to sit and relive and watch, and so many people have come from the Sturges playground, and many more will come. And if you want to plug the website or the address real quick.
SpicerSturgis.com. You can find us online. We have classes in person and online. Am I giving it to the right camera?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to see you.
Awesome. And tell Aaron I miss him yelling at me, because he used to always yell at me when I'd mess up the scene.
I do a gentle, when I really know you, then
Gentle.
I can go, oh, that was awful.
No, Aaron would bring on the New York accent, and it's like he would say things we can't say on the TV show, but they're motivators.
I do a very good impersonation. I'll show it to you later.
Wonderful.
Wouldn't be interesting to people who don't know him.
Yeah. If you know, you know,
right.
As they say.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, this has been another wonderful episode of Pan and Zoom. We have Shannon Sturges, and she's given us some great wisdom and insight about the acting world. And until next time, keep on filming.